everyone, Siege here, back again with another episode of how to animate a gacha scene Live2D tutorial series, where I walk you through my process of rigging, animating, and basically bringing your models to life. We've officially reached the final episode of the series, woo! It's kind of bittersweet, I know. But I really hope everything so far has helped you level up your workflow and confidence in Live2D. Today, we're diving into form animation and the brand new parameter control system introduced in Cubism 5.2, specifically the new inverse kinematics feature. And trust me, this update has been a total game changer for my animation workflow. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, so what is form animation, or FA? In short, it lets you animate by directly transforming meshes and deformers on your timeline instead of relying on parameters. Think of it as mixing modeler mode tweaks like warp deformers, rotation deformers into animation mode. So, for example, you already got your basic parameters for the head, body, and all that. Now you want to fine-tune a pose for a specific moment. Maybe fold the skirt when your character sits, tilt the shoulders for a quick lean, or hide an arm behind another character. Normally that means extra parameters, extra keyframes, extra stress. But with form animation, you can do all that directly on the timeline. No extra rigging needed. So, how does it work? Let's say your character has a skirt, and you already rigged the general movement. Skirt move parameter, skirt sway parameter, the legs rigged, etc. Now you want to animate your character going from standing to sitting. When the character sits, the skirt needs to fold in to look believable. If you try to set up a parameter just for the sitting skirt pose, you'll either make your rig super complex or you risk messing up other motions. So you can use form animation for this process. In the timeline, select your model, then look for the little FA icon. That's form animation. Click it and the new view appears. In the form animation view, you can see the model's parts and deformers from the modeler mode, but also the timeline of the animator mode. Now, I know my layout might look a little different from yours, and I've actually explained how changing the layout of the interface can affect your workflow in episode 1, so I'm gonna try my best to help you out navigating through the different tabs and sections of the program. Anyway, since we're adjusting the skirt, you're gonna have to select the deformer you made for that, which is the skirt deformer. Now just adjust the deformer however you want. Now, when you switch back to the normal animator mode, all your parameter motions stay completely untouched. The form tweaks just layer on top, like a pose correction pass, which is super efficient when animating complex shots. Here's another cool use case: overlapping characters. Imagine one character's hand needing to go in front of another character's arm. You can't just change Z order in the middle of animation. Well, you can, it's just clunky and it might interfere with other motions. So this is where form animation shines once again. So to do just that, make sure the animation you want to do for the character is already done. Here I've taken the animation I did with young Vivian and her father as an example. So, once you're done, you want to duplicate the character whose hand is in front. Okay, wait, Siege, you just put the character in front, now it's blocking everything. I know, dear, I know. Just hold on, trust the process. This is where form animation will take place. Now, select the FA button again to make a form animation tab for the character. Once you're there, you're gonna highlight all the parts you wanna hide. Do that by click and dragging the cursor over the parts, then over on the inspector palette, set the opacity to 0% so that it's just the hand showing up. When you go back to the Animator tab, ta-da! The character's hand is now in front. Let's go! That's pretty much how form animation can work. I'm sure there are other ways of persuasion. Wait, no, wrong context, sorry. What I was supposed to say there is that there are other ways on how to utilize this tab even more, but these are the main things that I use it for. So go ahead and experiment it all you want. Who knows, you might make a discovery yourself. Okay, now on to the parameter control system. This is actually the big new update in Cubism 5.2, and it fundamentally changed how you can rig and animate your models with IK and direct parameter controls. IK, or inverse kinematics, is a rigging system that lets you move one part of a chain, like a hand or a foot, and have the rest of the connected parts, like the arm or the leg, automatically adjust and follow in a natural, realistic way. In simple terms, you move the endpoint and the rest of the chain figures itself out for you. This new system lets you control parameters through IK operations using a controller. You just drag directly in the view area and Live2D automatically inserts the keyframes for you. This means instead of wrestling with tons of parameters keying for complex IK chains, you can now use the controller tool to streamline animation setup. And this is especially helpful for scenes where the characters are moving really dynamically. This feature literally makes things a lot easier, saves time, and keeps your workflow way cleaner. So how do we set it up? In the animation view, select the track of your model. Then, just above the canvas, click on the parameter controller tool, the one beside the selecting editing tool. Then place the control point where you want to control it. For example, you want to control the angle Z of the head. Now take a look under the inspector palette. Change the name however you want to avoid confusion. Then in the parameters section, since we want to control the angle Z part, check the angle Z parameter. Now when you control the point, angle Z is following along. This also applies to other parts. Say, another example, you want the arm to move. Do the same thing. Select the parameter control button, place it wherever you want, and check the part you want to move under the parameter section in the inspector palette. If you also want the shoulder part to move too, just check that box as well so it can follow along. That's pretty much the basic of how the parameter control system works. Of course, things can get way, and I mean way, more intricate and technical in the process. But I'll save that video in another time. Or if I forget, someone just remind me, please. Thank you. And that's it for the final episode of this Live2D series! Yippee! Huge shout out to Live2D Incorporated for partnering with me and making this possible, and thank you for sticking with me through all 6 episodes. Wow, I actually finished something. Wish I can say the same thing for AMR. If you found this series helpful, drop a like, comment down below on what you'd love me to cover next, maybe something super technical or a Q&A, and of course, don't forget to subscribe and turn that bell on a ring-a-ding-ding so that you won't miss any video on this channel. Wow, it's been a while since I said that. Anyway, stay amazing and God bless. Siege out. Woo!